Welcome to the third tutorial of mobile application development using React Native tools. In previous lectures, we seen how to create a basic layout of mobile application. So if you didn't watch it, please watch tutorial number 1 and 2 to create an interface like this. Let's move on to the today's lesson, how to create an alert in mobile application. To understand this, we'll create how an alert system works in JavaScript. So in tutorial number 1 and 2, I mentioned that a knowledge in JavaScript is a fundamental aspect on developing React Native mobile applications. So let's go with an example how we create an alert system using JavaScript along with HTML. So I'll select the language HTML. Inside this, I'll directly go to body. Inside this, we'll create two text box for the input for username and password. So this is for our two inputs. So let's create a button, a submit button, which is down below. So it's a button and the ID is, actually we mention a value, which is called login, and we'll write a function to invoke this method. So when on click, let's say a function name validate, and just end this. So we create our initial structure. So let's create a function called validate. To do that, we'll start with the script. Inside this script, we need to say the type. That can be text or JavaScript. So let's write a function. We already have the name. That's validate. Okay. Okay. So we'll create new variable. First one is just simply uname. That's for document dot get element by ID, and my ID is username, which is this. Okay. Dot the value. Okay. Next, we will set document dot get element by id and the name, password dot value. So this is to assign the values that get by those two textbooks named username and password. Let's write a condition if uname is equal to, I'll go with a random username, just user, and actually this okay, so username and password is equal to just a random password abc123. If both are correct, let's say alert dot, let's say alert, and our alert message is login success. Okay, so this is for true condition. So then we need to write else part, my alert is login failed. Okay, so now we had our basic function on HTML. So let's save this, just save on desktop. Okay, so let's check this how it's working. So let's check our, this is our username and our password and a login box. So let's go with some unknown values. So when I press login, it says login failed, so it doesn't match the condition. So let's go for user, then my password abc3. When I press login, it says login successful. So this is how the alert works on JavaScript and along with HTML. So let's do a similar task in our mobile application to pop up alert message when the user press login. So let's go to our previous code and do some changes to invoke this alert function. So in tutorial number 1 and 2, we deleted some default properties, mentioned a constructor. So let's create a constructor to set our username and a password state. Okay, so let's create a constructor just down below. Okay, constructor. So we'll pass some props. Okay, so we add some props. So okay, we'll use that later. Okay, so we had some props. So just okay, we have to mention this as true, this as top, then oops, okay, then let's say this dot state. So we have two default states. First state is username, actually like this. Then next state we have a password. Okay, so we can add multiple states. So I just stop with username and password. Okay, and we can close this. Okay, so we have two states, which is username and password, both are empty. So let's save this. Now what we have to do is just make it wait. Okay, so it's work on real time, so it sometime the application got crash, so simply press wait. Okay, so now you can check here we created a constructor by giving properties, and that props are the states. There are two states, which is username is empty and password is empty. Okay, so let's do some changes in those two text box. Okay, so we had a placeholder for this username or email. Okay, so let's add some properties. Okay, so let's add, so I'm going to add next to that text color. Okay, so let's say on change text. Okay, so we're going to change the text value from this text box. So we're going to add a username inside this text box. So I'm telling that on change text. Okay, I just okay, inside this I'm going to say the username. So you see the state username, so we're going to use it here. That username, so instead how it's going to change, so this, okay, this dot, we're going to set the state, so set state. Okay, so we can pass the state inside here, so you can see what does it mean. Okay, so inside this set state, what we're going to do is we have a changing username. Okay, so it's going to change on time. Okay, so let's exit this and close this, and okay, so now it's in order. Okay, similar to this username, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the next thing, not username, this should be password. Okay, and I'm going to set the state password. Okay, so now we have two states. Which one is our username going to change to any random usernames, okay, which is defined in constructor. Just like that, we have the password that also will change. Okay, next, after we change these two texts, what we're going to do, we need to write a function along with this button. So we start the style, so inside this button, okay, so here you can see this. Okay, so here you can see this is belongs to that button. So let's write some functions. So it's on press, right? So you are not using mouse on mobile application, so you have to press a button. So we need to mention on press. Okay, so on press, what I'm going to say, okay, I just deleted that. Okay, on press this dot, we need to write a function what going to happen when the button got pressed. So I'm going to mention the function name login check, and we'll write a function, okay, just below this. Okay, so when press, it should invoke this login check function. Okay, so just write down below this. Okay, so login check. Okay, inside this we need to say what are the things going to happen. Okay, I just travel with the parent of this. Okay, actually method, right? Okay, just like this, we're going to say what we did in our JavaScript earlier. Variable username. Okay, so we had two state this dot state dot username. Okay, second one, variable okay password, which is equal to this dot state dot password. Okay, so it just feels lazy. Okay, so I'm going to write the same thing. Okay, just we'll do that again. Okay, so if the username equals to, just like I mentioned before, user and the password equals to abc123. Okay, if it is meets the condition, alert dot alert login success. Okay, so that's my alert. Actually not dot alert, so that's my alert. Okay, so next, else my alert should be login failed. Okay, so when it meets the condition, my alert should be login success, else login failed. Okay, so these are my two alerts. Okay, so let's check whether there are any errors or not. Okay, so just simply I say this. Wait. Okay. So let's check the code once again. If we made any issues, any mistakes, we can use that. Okay, so let's try first login. Okay, so you can see it shows an alert login failed. Okay, so let me press OK, then I go user and the password ABC123. Okay, once again I think I made a mistake. What's the password? Check here. Yeah, ABC123. ABC123. Okay, the user is not this user. Okay, so now you can see the login success, and simply a simple letter mistake, pop-up login failed. Okay, it's capital T. Okay, and if the fields are empty, it pop up an alert login failed. So usually we'll made a change on this code because it says alert all the time, so let's remove that alert. So let's see how we can remove this header alert. Simply I need login failed, that's enough. Okay, so let's add a part. Already there's an existing component alert dot alert. Okay, okay, so we use a component alert, so we need to add that also. So here we add all the components that we're using, so we mention alert. Okay, sometimes it's auto generate. Okay, so let's check once again. Okay, it says login fails. So now you can see the difference between those two alert. Okay, so let's check once again. User, then login success. Okay, so this is how you can create alert on your mobile application. So now let's see in our next tutorial.